Welcome back to my views and news. Breaking news for you from the Amhara region of Ethiopia, where Fano fighters have entered a major city in the region. They had their presence in this city, in this town. They carried out some attacks. A police officer was assassinated here. But today they managed to enter the town. Hundreds of them are now inside the town. Can we say the town is under the control of Fano fighters? What is the strategic significance of this town? Is it a blow to Ethiopian National Defense Force? Uh, Name of the town is Debre Birhan, viewers. Debre Birhan is situated in North Shoa zone of the Amhara region. In North Shoa, Shoa Fano is operating under the command of Belet Shigao. And we know that Fano fighters have been carrying out attacks on ENDF trying to capture Fano fighters in different parts of the North Shore zone. We saw clashes near Shore Orbit, in Shore Orbit too. Yesterday, Fano fighters shared a video from Shore Orbit. They proved they were in control of Shore Orbit, but they were not close to Debre Birhan a few days ago. A few days ago, they were mainly focused to capture a Shore Orbit and nearby areas. For the last 5 days, by the way, main road, traffic moving along the main road from Dassi through Shore Orbit to Addis Ababa is suspended. It's because of fighting between Fano fighters and Ethiopian security forces in and around Shore Orbit. In Shore Orbit, a command post was established weeks ago, but it could not be implemented. The situation could not be controlled. Now, Fano fighters have managed to advance from different directions towards Debre Birhan. They are in Debre Birhan. What is the significance of this development? Firstly, I follow Fano's advance, Ethiopian military's plans in entire Amhara region. In Gondar, in Gojam, we saw massive public support for Fano fighters. Fano factions there. Whenever they came under pressure, locals supported Fano fighters. Locals blocked roads. They blocked ENDF reinforcements. They provided information, logistical support to Fano fighters in Gajam, Gondar. They have immense public support, their Fano factions. Belet Shigao's Shoa Fano has lesser public support. Reason is because in North Shoa, Oromos and Amharas, both ethnic groups live in large numbers. It's not that hundreds, thousands of people have been blocking main roads in North Shoa. No. In North Shoa, fighting has been between Fano fighters and Ethiopian military. In Shore Orbit, there was no big public protest in support of Shoa Fano. Rather, Shoa Fano on its own was fighting Ethiopian National Defense Force. It does not mean that Shoa Fano has no public support. No. People support Fano, especially living in rural areas of Shoa, North Shoa. They support Fano, but not as much as the support for Fano is visible in Gujum and Gondar. So, despite having lesser support, Shoa Fano is emerging as perhaps the one of the strongest Fano factions. More organized, well equipped, well trained, and tough. That is my understanding if I compare all Fano factions. So, Shoa Fano made the road non-navigable. I mean, traffic suspended. Ethiopian military cannot use this main road for reinforcements. This is one of the main roads, Addis Ababa to Debre Birhan, Shore Orbit, Kambolcha. It's a main road which links Wollo with Oromia. Now, when Fano fighters are in Debre Birhan, it means that the road cannot be used by Ethiopian National Defense Force. Now, in different locations, the Fano fighters have their presence along this road in Shore Orbit, in Debre Birhan, in other parts, in other towns too along the road. Firstly, it means that ENDF will have to use other options to send supplies to its forces in Wollo, maybe through Afar, then Bati, Kambolcha, or Afar, Voldia, or from Tigray. So it's a serious blow to Ethiopian National Defense Force that spy routes are being taken, they're being made inaccessible by Fano fighters. Fano fighters had presence in Shore Orbit because in Debre Birhan, because you know that Debre Birhan police chief was assassinated by Fano fighters allegedly around 2 weeks ago. Yes, around 2 weeks ago, he was assassinated. After Dejan police chief was assassinated, then Debre Birhan police chief was assassinated. Debre Birhan is the capital of North Shoa zone. It means entire zonal administration is collapsing. By the way, where is state of emergency? Ethiopian government announced state of emergency around 3 days ago. Any change on the ground in terms of controlling of law and order situation? State of emergency means that there cannot be any public gatherings. No one can carry arms. No one can move armed. But Fano fighters taking control of new towns. Where is ENDF? Is ENDF focused on big cities like Gondar, Bahirdar, Debre Marcos, and after clearing those towns, it will try to move towards small towns. Difficult to say. Debre Birhan is one of the main towns, main cities in North Shore zone of the Amhara region. So far, the announcement of state of emergency did not bring about any change on the ground. Fano fighters are operating freely, even in those zones like in North Shore where no large-scale public protests have been seen in support of Fano fighters. Secondly, now Fano fighters are approaching Oromia. Debre Birhan to Addis Ababa distance, I think around 100 kilometers. But Debre Birhan to Oromia would be around 20-30 kilometers. And in border areas, there could be presence of Ola to Oromo Liberation Army. In the past, Ola had some sleeper cells in Oromia Special Zone in some parts of North Shore Zone of the Amhara region too. Now, when Fano is controlling big towns in North Shore, it is now heading towards Oromia border. If Fano fighters manage to take full control of Debre Birhan, obviously they'll try to move towards the border. They will not enter Oromia. I don't think they'll enter Oromia. That would be that wouldn't be appropriate for them at this point of time to enter Oromia. But let's see how Oromia responds. Let's see how Ola, Oromo Liberation Army responds. Will Oromia police be comfortable with Fano's massive presence on the border? That we'll see in coming days. Especially Ola's response. Could Ola be launched by the government against Fano? Just a speculation. We'll analyze this point in some separate videos. By the way, it's not that Debre Birhan is under full control of Fano fighters these minutes. What we have learned is they're still In some places in the city, there is fighting ongoing, and at the exit of the Debre Birhan city, fighting ongoing, like we saw in Shorobit. That Shorobit, it's not that it was under full control of Fano fighters. Fano fighters and END were involved in clashes in Shorobit. Same will happen here too, I think. It's not that ENDF will allow Fano to remain in full control of Debre Birhan. ENDF will attack Fano fighters, they'll withdraw, they'll return. So it will keep on happening. Mainly, they have managed to make a supply route of Ethiopian National Defense Force totally inaccessible for ENDF, and they are paving the way for their advance towards Addis Ababa. Will they move from Debre Birhan towards Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital? Too early to say. It's too early to say. Their first target is that they want to secure Amhara region. They want to secure big cities. They want to make government dysfunctional, which they have made, by the way. Now they want to ensure that ENDF fails. The state of emergency fails. Once the state of emergency fails, ENDF's all offensives fail. Then they'll focus on their next targets, which we'll discuss in a coming video. So far, it's a big development. Keeping in view that it has happened after the imposition of state of emergency, Fano fighters still operating freely, even in those areas where there is no massive public support. Again, it's not that Fano has no public support. They have public support, but not as much as in Gondar and in Gojam. Thank you for watching.